Because why not? If not, why not? And it's the
Box
look
by one.
into box by one. You're right. So just for our many listeners there, Kat and I had a little prediction ahead of the final, and Kat correctly said box by one, where I said box by four. What a game! But I mean, we could
Look,
probably do a whole episode on that.
I'll be honest that box by one got me some prize money in a Super Brew pool, so I was very stoked about that call. But yeah, well, it was scripted. I mean, all of the knockout games by one, that was lacquer. Stressful, but yeah, that was beautiful. What a 2023 it was,
Yeah,
and what a 2024 it's been so far. To be honest.
ruthless.
It's been pretty good. You can't deny that. I mean, one blip on the radar, and it was the one game that I actually went to go watch live, which was
Yeah,
a little bit sad, but yo, the vibe on the stadium was insane. Ireland with a cheeky little drop goal at the end
yeah,
there, stealing it. But yeah, if those are the margins we live by, it's a great time to be a box supporter, eh?
absolutely. And that game against Ireland, actually that whole series, why we didn't get a third match is actually World Rugby needs to sort itself out there, because they should have made a third match. That's where calendars and rankings and stuff like that needs to be looked at in a bigger picture and say, right, just FYI, if this is the case, there might be a potential third game.
Look,
I mean, they could have made it happen.
look, I'll be honest. All series should be at least 3 games. Let's be honest. That
Yeah,
you can't have 2 games. It's not what the people want to see. They left on cliffhangers. If it goes to a 1-1, yeah, if you take it 2-zip, that's fine, I guess. But also, you still want to see the third one. You always want to see a third one. I mean, that's the nice thing with the tours that they want to introduce now again. I think
yeah,
that's going to be absolutely epic.
yeah.
So yeah, let's see. But hey, so far so good for 2024. I'm not sure how many games have we played. We've played Wales, we've played
Ireland
Ireland
twice.
twice, we played
That's four.
Portugal, and 4. So we 7 out of 8 at the moment.
Yeah, but just going back to that Ireland game quickly, what's also annoying for me is Ireland are saying that they've won 2 out of 3. They're the better team 2 out of 3 now, including the World Cup game. So it's like, cool, that's fine. You won maybe the battle, but we won the war and we got the trophy
I just
too.
I just wanted to say, like literally, just go check the trophy cabinets, I guess.
Exactly, exactly.
I'd take a loss against Ireland any day of the week if I know I'm winning a World Cup. So all's
Yeah,
fair in love and war, as they say.
yeah. And just to wrap up the World Cup quickly, I think now more than ever, the booker and the management staff are really going to hone in for the next 4 years, because they want South African rugby to be the best rugby nation in the world, and I think they're going after that 3 in a row now.
Yeah, they would three and be known as the best team to ever do it. Let's be honest. If you're
Yeah,
going 3 in a row, you will be classified as that. We've seen twice in a row, twice now.
yeah,
So you can be the first team to do it 3 times in a row. You will be classified as the greatest of all time, as the
yeah,
perennial GOAT, as people would say.
yeah. And I mean, I think Rassie has goat-like tendencies, so probably would be fitting.
100%.
So
100%.
let's tie a bow on that. I'm hoping to
Yeah.
be at Rugby World Cup 2027. I've started a small little savings account for myself. So if we've got
Australia,
any
mate.
if we've got any Patreon subscribers, feel free to donate. We could go do
Get us there.
live interactions outside the stadiums.
Hey, look, the one thing that we have to acknowledge is the fact that the beloved man that is named, well, the podcast that is named after Mr. Papes himself,
Yeah,
also getting a Springbok job there as a ref consultant, which I think is brilliant.
yeah,
And you can see with the way that we concede penalties and things like that, the number has significantly dipped. And you
good
can see
point.
that in the Rugby Championship as well.
Yeah,
I mean, the first game against New Zealand, I think the penalty count was 5-14, which just shows you that the discipline levels and the understanding of how the referees see it
yeah,
makes a big influence.
yeah. That's a good point, and that's what our viewers want to come here and see and learn. That's why they're here. So, no, I agree. So, shout out to Papes. You're always welcome on our show. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
100%.
But jumping into the Rugby Championship now, I'm just going to
Yeah.
share the table so we can have a look at that.
Yeah,
Can you
look,
see,
it
my
looks
screen? Yeah.
it looks really good if you're a South African supporter. Played for 1-4, sitting on 18 with 2 try bonus points. Argentina in second with 10 points, 2 wins, 2 losses. And then on 10 points, yeah, and then New Zealand and Australia propping up the bottom with 1 win each, 3 losses, 7 for the All Blacks with 2 losing bonus points and 1 try bonus point, and then Australia with no bonus points whatsoever. Yeah, so
Are you reading it out for those that listen on Spotify on the podcast?
I don't even know that
The
we have
the,
that, but
the
look,
listeners.
it's just general talk on said podcast. So
Yeah,
I'm just going to ramble on for a bit here and
yeah,
saying the results that we have seen though, just to
yeah,
clarify why the table looks the way it does, is in the first week we had SA downing Australia 33-7. We also had the RGs, or the Argentinians, downing the All Blacks 38-30 in a humding of a game.
yeah. Great game.
And we then saw the All Black backlash with a 42-10 victory over Argentina at Auckland, where they just do not lose.
Yeah,
And then the Box taking down Australia in a very much rain-soaked game, 30-12. Then we go to the spicy part of it, where the third week we had South Africa taking down the All Blacks 31-27, where I called it afterwards that we the All Blacks, which
yeah.
just
I
in
agree.
all essence mean we were behind by 10. We looked hopeless, and somehow in the last 10 minutes, scored 2 tries, took it home.
We rallied.
Yeah, brilliant. And then Australia taking down Argentina 2019 in a also very much rain-soaked game. And then the fourth week, 2 weeks ago, we took them down the All Blacks 18-12. Pretty tight game. Again, the All Blacks looked like they were in control for the first 60, and then it just fell away when the bomb squad did bomb squad things.
Correct.
And we saw probably one of the most humiliating defeats that Australia has ever faced, to be honest. They were ahead 20 points to 3 after 29 minutes and somehow still lost the game 67-27.
So
That, yeah,
20 points to 3 after 29 minutes. So in 51 minutes, Argentina scored 64
64 points.
points. That's like school rugby.
Yep. Look, it's the biggest point margin against Australia ever, 67.
Ever. But
Ever.
by any team.
The previous best was the Box in, I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 97, where we beat them 61 something. Yeah, so biggest score against the Wallabies in their history.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So looking ahead now, this weekend we've got the RGs in Estadio Unico Madrid Ciudades.
Oh, is that your pronunciation? I had to go listen to a few oaks. Is the Estadio Único Madre de Ciudades. Ciudades, sorry. But that's
Oh,
it. Yeah, we've got that going on, and then we also have Australia taking on the All Blacks um, at Sydney, as far as I
in
know.
in
Um,
what some might deem a wooden spoon battle.
well, it's the Bledisloe battle. It's all that they can fuss about now. So you have to think, with the way it started for the All Blacks this season. They started off with a few wins and things. I don't think they've had a terrible season. I think the one result that will irk them was the one against Argentina. I think had they not lost that, I don't think it would have been seen as such a horrendous campaign so far.
Yeah.
I think there's no what's the word that I'm looking for here. Oh, I actually don't know what the English word is, but there's no.
Say it for
Uh,
me in Afrikaans.
I can't even think of that as well. It's just not disrespect. There's no shame in losing to the world champions at home. So um,
Double
they
world
could have won
champion.
both games, but they didn't. Yeah, well, the back-to-back. Well, they could have won both games, but they lost both games, which would sting,
Yeah.
especially after we just mentioned what their bounce back ability normally is.
Yeah.
Um, and it's also the first time in I don't know how many years where they've lost four in a row to one team. So
Yeah.
kudos.
No, they're doing something right. And I mean, what where's it gone wrong for New Zealand over the last 12 months?
I don't think you
Or
can bring it down to 12 months. I think we have had this discussion previously.
yeah.
I think a big turning point was when South Africa moved to the URC
Oh
and
yes, you did say
out
that,
of
yeah.
the out of Super Rugby. I think them not having that physicality week in, week out against the South African teams have definitely, they're not as prepared for that type of rugby as they usually were, I would say. I think the fact that you can look at the teams that are on the up, I would say, is your Northern Hemisphere teams. They do look quite potent nowadays because their physicality has always been there. I think now just the fact that some of the Southern Hemisphere teams do not feel that physicality week in, week out, I think it makes a big difference in how to confront that. They just don't
Also,
seem to have the answers.
and also the Northern Hemisphere teams are getting exposed to South African style rugby.
100%. And the thing
Yeah.
is, uh, with the fences at a premium nowadays, um, you can see sometimes the attacking play struggles, and that's why the kicking game is so important. I don't feel that the All Blacks kicking game has been up to scratch yet. We talk about tactical kicking; it's been talked about for so long, and it is a boring part of the game. Most people would say, but it is such a crucial part of the game still.
Yeah.
Um, the interesting thing about this season so far, though, is the evolution of the Springbok attack. I think that's
Agreed.
something that is quite frightening the teams. If I have to be honest, the reason why I say so is that we know we can still go our World Cup winning mentality way, where we just kick and put teams under pressure and suffocate them. We can still do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now adding that to the team, you just bring another bow to your quiver, and you just add to the other teams not being 100% sure what to expect, which will definitely
Exactly.
make them quiver in their boots, hopefully.
exactly that dynamism that we've got now. Is, having watched Chasing the Sun, the second one quite recently, Rassie and Jacques actually touch on it. I think ahead of, I think it was ahead of the quarter or the semi-final. They say that because they pick completely different teams, play players out of position, how you set up to defend the Springboks in this current period of time is very challenging, because while you can go on previous games and previous results and see, look for chinks in the armor, but the problem is, as a country that's coming up against the Springboks, you are looking, Rassie and Jacques are looking at you as a nation, as a rugby side, and they're saying, how do we, with the resources we have, beat you? Which could result in a
Yeah.
completely different 23.
No, 100%. And the thing is, the depth that they have built now, just in this year alone, you feel like there are three Oaks that can play in any given position, any given weekend, and the drop off isn't that bad, which is a luxury that not a lot of teams
That's
have at the moment. I really think that is the one thing where we are far ahead of the rest of the teams at the moment is we
correct.
yes, we've had a great season so far, but if you look at the amount of players we've used, I mean, week in, week out, we change 8 guys, and we're still able to perform,
Yeah.
which bodes very well for the future.
Yeah, actually, I completely agree. I'm just going to check how many have played in 2024. Let's see what we can get here. But no, I completely agree with you. And I touched on this before we started recording, but I really think that with 2027 being the carrot that's dangled to us and trying to go 3 in a row, I think the blooding process is going to continue, and we're going to see a depth in a squad depth that at least the Springboks have never seen going into 2027, because we're going to have those players that are 35-ish going into that World Cup. I think we're going to have a probably a core of about 5 guys, all in the Dwayne Vermeulen, Skulk Brits kind of mold, where they go to the tournaments to just relay that experience on, get us through the Samoa, Tonga, Romania games, and then it's the new blood that gets us over the line. The that play in the clinch moments, but they would have had so much exposure already.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with that. I really think it's going to be very interesting to see how they grow the squad further going forward. But you have to feel with the player pool we've got at the moment, it's really boding very well, building up to 227. And we also need to take into account this is going to be the first cycle where the management team actually have a full 4 years to prepare. Previously, it was 2 years and the year or 18 months, and after that we had COVID, so they lost a whole year there as well. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how they rotate the rest of the year as well, and how the last few games, and then the overseas tour
Yeah,
up in the north later this year.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. There was a good image the other day that showed our like frontline players, and then those players that are like next in line to take the role. I can't find the image now, but it was a
No,
great
I have.
You've probably seen it.
I've seen it. It is quite frightening, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's been exciting to see some of the youngsters getting pulled in and actually performing, and some of the guys that have been on the cusp for a long time that are now slowly starting to stick up their hands. And one thing that we need to take into account, that I think isn't really talked about that much, is our long list of injuries at the moment, technically as well. We've got a lot of injured players that aren't even there at the moment.
Even given
And
a
it
full
might not be
this.
starters, but some of them are, and they're key personnel.
Can you just rattle off a few just out of interest? Are you there?
Sorry, you completely broke up there. Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, I said, who are some of the injured players that come to mind, just out of interest?
No, just off the top of my head, we've got Steven Kitsoff, um, starter. Then in the locks, how many do you want to know? We've got Lewitt, we've got Mostert, we've got John Klein, we've got RWC Snyman. That's just four of them, just to off the top of my head quickly.
I saw a picture today, I think, of RWC Snyman training with Leinster.
I don't know, but I know he was also on the list. Yeah, lock stocks, we've been smashed. But I mean, still to be able to pop out some quality Alex is insane.
Yeah,
And then, I mean, the rest of the guys, we've got Faf that was injured as well. He hasn't really played at all. We've got Damian Willems, who hasn't played any Springbok games this season. And I mean, if you think of the role he played in the World Cup and how well he played at fullback, I mean, we've been playing Willie and Fassi, who's been playing brilliantly, but you still have Damian to come back as well, which is pretty scary, I think, because he is absolutely brilliant at fullback.
yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be very, very critical at the 2027 World Cup. I think he'll be that back in his prime, already two World Cups behind him. He's going to be probably what, 32, maybe 31, 32. Perfect to fill that
Yeah.
villain role.
No, Willemse will be 29, I think, at the next still.
No way, you reckon?
I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that.
I'll
But
have a little look see here.
I'm pretty sure Damian Willemse is only going to be 29 by the next World Cup.
Born 1998. So he's 26 now. So he's going to be
29.
29, 30, give or take. Yeah, holy smokes. What?
Prime.
He could honestly potentially go 4 in a row. I mean, we've been very optimistic here.
That's very, very optimistic. That would be nice. I'm not going to lie, but
Yeah.
yeah, so he's still very young. So, I mean, we've got such a array of talent and oaks that are coming into their primes and things like that, that you just have to be excited to see what this team's going to do going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw Kanan Moody's like, I think he's 22 or 23 now.
Yeah, I think he's 22, 21 or something ridiculous.
And he's a unit. He's flipping massive for a guy that's playing out on the wing. Yeah, just it fills me with joy. It does. It
It
fills me with
does.
joy. And you know, the beauty of SA Rugby and the Boks when they play is like you never get tired of losing because of what it does to the general population of South Africa.
You just say you don't get tired of losing.
No, you don't. Oh, you see the signals cutting out. But I said the beauty of the box and what it represents to South Africa is you pull in for bra, you light the fire, the gees is up, and it just means so much to the country and the people. So yeah, it's
The
each win
vibe
is
is just lacquer, as we would
yeah,
say. The vibe is lacquer whenever the
yeah.
Boks play on.
I'm
Oh, well,
actually
even when they lose, it's also still lacquer most of the time.
we find a way. But I'm going to, not this Saturday, the following Saturday when we play Argentina. A few of us expats are getting together for a big bra. So assuming my button in the oven stays in the oven, we'll probably be going to a bra. Nice, big, fierce, good event.
Sounds lovely. Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
absolutely lovely. No,
Well,
that's
thank you for
good.
that. Let me bring up the team for the weekend and we can dive into that. Can you see my
Yeah,
screen?
sure. Yeah, I can see it. So, I mean, again, as mentioned, just sticking to the theme, Rassie has made quite a few changes. I think it's 8 or 10 in total. Um, so, I mean, just running through the forwards, we've got Oxen Chase starting with Malcolm Marks and Thomas du Toit. Um, it'll be interesting to see what du Toit can bring with those two guys starting with him. I'm actually quite excited to see what's going to happen. Um, I think it might elevate his game as well. Then, yeah, we've got Salman Murat and Ruan Norkia playing lock. Norkia has played mercuriously the few games that he's played for the Box now, and he's really looking like he's settling in quite nicely, especially being, I think, a sixth or seventh choice lock. He's shown just how much depth we do have in that position.
But just
Murat needs.
on
Mm,
on Nokia, I've admired what he's brought to the side because and I could be wrong, but just in what I've seen from him, he isn't. I don't want to say he lacks that physicality because I don't think you can be a South African lock without having physicality. But he
physicality,
brings
100%.
yeah, but he brings something different. Like he's quite mobile. He gets around the park. He's to
Yeah.
me he doesn't really sit in that channel directly off the ruck as much, and he looks to get around a bit more.
Look, and he's got an engine. He's very much a Franco Moster type player for me.
Yes, yeah,
If
yeah,
if
I
I
agree.
need to try and put it down to something, I would put it down to that. I think he's very much a Franco Mostert mold player.
Peter step
Um,
right.
yeah, you could say that. You could say that. Yeah, and then Murat, captain for the day as well. I would like to see more from him.
Mm.
We have not seen the best of him in the Box jersey yet. I think when he does hit his straps, that'll be something to behold as well. He is a good player. He's been very unlucky with injuries in the past and things like that, but hopefully he gets a clean run now. Doesn't smash someone with his head and go off for concussion again. We need him to play a big game as well. So hopefully he can step up and deliver. And then I have to say this is a very exciting loose trio with Marco van Staden, Eskom, Ben Jason Dixon, and then Jasper Wiese packing
Thoughts
down.
on
I mean,
thoughts on BJ Dixon? I haven't seen much of him play. I think in the way we play our rugby in South Africa, I think it's going to be hard, but that number 7 role has got a very important uh let's use bowling term, scope of works that he needs to do in a game, covering a large amount of ground first at the breakdown, those type of things. So I've seen bits and pieces from BJ, but is he what's his pedigree like? Do you know much about him?
I don't know much about him. I've watched him a bit at and things. So, um, the Australia games, he played very well up. I think he played very
Okay.
well there. I think the game against the All Blacks when he was about 30 odd minutes or so, I think things just didn't go his way completely. But I think we needed to change our forwards to do what we needed to do. But I think with Peter Steph being given a rest. I think you'll see him fulfilling the role of absolutely hunting down anything with a ball in hand. I think he's going to be making a lot of hits. Yeah, I'm excited. I think, especially against a physical team like the Argentinians, it's going to be crucial to have those guys with mongrel and dog to take
Yeah,
down the big ball carriers. Definitely.
yeah. it'll be a true test of his medal. So I
For
hope
sure.
that he can, like you say, do the job and let Marco and Jasper do what they need to do.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've been very impressed with Jasper since he's come back from that suspension. I think he's playing some of his
Oh,
best
yes.
maybe in the bulk jersey now.
He is an absolute tank, that Oak. Absolute tank.
Yeah,
There was a lot of questions if will he play eighth man when he's ready, and will he be able to cement his spot? I think he's answered those critics very quickly in 2
I
games.
agree. I agree.
I think he's been absolutely massive. So yeah, brilliant, to be honest. Absolutely brilliant. Then moving on to the back line, we've got some experienced heads there with Kobus Reinach and Pollard, filling the halfback pairing.
Yeah.
Then a very I would still say this very exciting backline with Mapimpi and Orange on the wings, and then and Krill in the centers with playing inside center, and Fassi at
Something a bit
fullback.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I've been hearing a lot now with the guys changing their attacking style, um, a lot of Oaks reckon that we can play someone like a at inside center, because our inside center isn't just crash balling anymore, and there is a lot of play work involved with that and distribution now.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see against the Argentinians if can actually get his hands free and do something from inside center. I don't think we're going to be losing anything in terms of defense with Dialendi not there. I think the only thing that you are losing is that direct threat on a crash ball.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I'm sure Jesse
Can
Krill
you
could also
feel?
fulfill that role if he needs to.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do. But I mean, that's a pretty experienced backline, to be honest, with 2 exciting younger players, we'll call them. With Curtly Orange is not that young. I think he's 27 already. And then Fassi is
Yeah.
probably also around there. So very, very experienced. And yeah, I think it's going to be interesting for the guys to see what they can do against Argentina, running it out there. Because I'm
Just
pretty sure that will be the game plan there.
yeah, just on Jesse Creel, I think over the last probably
18
the
months.
last, I was going to say go as far back as the last World Cup. I think since prior to that, he didn't tick all the boxes for me, but the level he's been able to reach and the consistency he's been able to give the Springboks in that center pairing week in, week out. This is a big statement here, but I'd say in terms of the outside backs, he is essentially our Peter Steff. His defensive work rate is incredible. The way he gets the side to move around it's something to behold. It's good to see, like Squidge does good breakdowns of that, and he shows like Jesse moving the troops around. So yeah, he's been invaluable, and he's looked to add so much to his game. That kick he put through in the World Cup to get Cheslin in, like all of that stuff, he's become very dynamic. Where when he first came onto the scene, he was big, he was strong, but he didn't sell me. But I think that's obviously what experience does.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can see the confidence that he plays with as well. I mean, it literally, he's a transformed player. Let's be honest. From being on the fringes and being there and being solid and mainly a defensive weapon, I mean, he has evolved his attacking game, and it has. Oh, you can see the results of it. He looks so dangerous when he actually gets space to operate in. He most he makes the right decisions on the attack as well. I don't think you get a lot of bad decisions by JC on the field, which is very important in a crucial position like outside. So yeah, he's been phenomenal, to be honest.
Yeah. And then going into the replacements here, I'm very, very excited for this this new look bench front three. Obviously, we know Vincent Cox pedigree, but Jan Hendrik Wessels comes from Greyblum, an absolute tank. I watched his schoolboy highlights, and there's hundreds of thousands of views on him on those videos, and a man mountain compared to the kids he is playing against. And he's going to bring that to international rugby. Obviously, coming from a school like Greyblum, being brought up in that part of the world, it's as well, coming from what, Freda?
From the Free State, bro, yeah.
So yeah, I'm keen to see what they can bring.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you mentioned, he is a tank, so going to bring a lot of explosiveness when coming off the bench.
Very quick from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And then obviously Eben and Ulrich Lowe to take over from the locks when the time comes. Eben, let's pause
just before we get into Eben, I just want to say I'm also very excited about Gerrit Steenekamp. I thought it was Steenkamp, and then I saw there is an E in there as well, so it is Steenekamp. He has had a phenomenal season with the Bulls, and I mean, he has not looked out of place in the Springbok setup at all. He has been playing brilliant footy on the loose head. So I'm very excited with our prop stocks at the moment, and yeah, he's just another player that has just come through the system, and brilliant. But yes.
But Jan Hendrik Wessels, I'm sure he also plays prop.
So he does. He plays prop and hooker. He can play both.
Yeah.
But he's in the squad now as a hooker, except if they maybe, I don't know, move Marco van Staden to hooker or so. I don't know. But we've got two props on there, so I'm sure he'll play hooker for this game.
But with his mobility, I'm pretty sure that they're looking for that new Malcolm Marx type hooker.
He's very much, in a sense, in the mold of a Skalk Brits, but more solid.
Okay, that's better. That's good. Okay, cool. And then let's go back to Eben Etzebeth. Just firstly, I think I speak for both of us here and just say thank you for your service. What you've done for South African rugby has been immense. If you do ever tune into this episode, we
big fan.
We are forever grateful. And to take the record from Matfield, he said it best. He says it couldn't be going to a more well-deserving person. One of the best, if not the best, Springbok player to ever wear the jersey. You could see it from the time he started off with the box. He was very fiery, extremely fiery, had that physicality, was a good predecessor, I think, to Bucky's. Is that the right word, I think? Or the one that takes over from Bucky's?
Yeah, I think predecessor would have been Bucky's, and then he took over from Bucky's.
So Bucky's was a predecessor to him, but he took over from old Bucky's, and he picked up the mantle.
From strength to strength.
Correct, and he's just added to his game and grown immensely. I think back and how important was that hand of God against France last year when he knocked that ball back.
That was magical still. That was still one of the best deliberate knockbacks I've ever seen.
Yeah. And then to get that try, also
against France.
Yeah. Just absolutely immense. And he's delivered when South Africa needed him. And I'm glad he's a Springbok rugby player. Kudos to him.
100%. So I watched the Keo and Zal show earlier this evening. They also talked about Eben, and they also had a few guys that sent in some voice recordings and things like that, guys that played a part in his earlier development and things like that, oaks that gave him his shot old Heineke Meyer back in the day, saying that this Oak will, in all probability, play at least 100 games for the Boks. Spot on. He's been playing spot on there. He has actually now going to become the most capped. So yeah, I mean, you can't say enough how good this Oak actually is.
Yeah.
Physicality, his demeanor on the field, his demeanor off the field, absolute team man, gives his all, never backs down, big dog mongrel in him. And also, I think the subtleties that he brings isn't also spoken about that much, which I think, I mean, he can offload a ball, he can run into gaps, he reads a game very well, steals lineouts, but yeah, he'll be known for his ferocity and yeah, but I mean, one of the most complete players to ever grace the game, I believe.
I can agree. Quick question. Would you say in World Rugby he's probably out of at least the international teams, he's the person you at least want to get into a fight with?
Yes,
Because
100% yes.
when his eyes light up, whoo!
No,
Who was
thank you.
that? What's that Aussie that he gripped like this and then you just
It was Alatoa.
Alatoa's soul left his body, and then when Eben released him, his soul was like, "Okay, I'm back now."
Yeah, definitely tend to agree with that. Yeah, he's a beast. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
So yeah, I hope he goes out there and enjoys it. And I believe he could possibly enter the 150, the talk for 150 caps.
I do think so. I really do think so. Still just 33 to go after this. So if it goes to the next World Cup cycle, I'm pretty sure we will see him reaching that if he stays fit and all of that as well.
Is it 33 or 23? This is his 127th.
27th, yeah.
So 23 left. That's probably 2.5 years.
Oh, is it only two? Oh, it's 23. You're right. Sorry. I don't know. Oh, 33 is to get to 160. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see what the future holds. And then just to wrap up the replacements, we got Kwagga, Jaden Hendrickse, and Mani Labok. You know, Kwagga has made the replacement loose forward mold his own.
Yeah. He is the ultimate, I would call him a boogeyman. He just comes in, just cleans up, does his job, gets out.
When he comes on for that last 25, 30 minutes, the gap in intensity between how he plays and how the opposition 15 are feeling is, you can see, and that's why he's able to do that. So I love the fact that we use him for 30, so he can do that explosiveness, whereas we don't try and manage him for 80.
100%. He's phenomenal off the bench. He's really made it a specialist role. To come off and bring impact to the level that he does. His battle stats are incredible. So yeah, he's just absolutely fantastic to bring off the bench, and he out of 10, he will do something to influence the game result.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So what do you reckon? Let's do score predictions here before we wrap up.
Sure. Look, it's like I say, it's a very good side, I still think. Yeah, there's quite a few changes and things, but I think with that team, I don't know what we're going to get from Argentina. If we're being honest, they hit or miss, it looks like, so far. They definitely hit it out of the park the previous game, so maybe this is their miss game again. We don't know. But look, from my side, I think we'll still take them. I probably think it'll be by a 8-point margin, somewhere around there. I don't think it'll be. Um, I think it might run close for a long time, but I think at the end we might just make it safe.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Um,
the same. I say box by 12,
nice, very nice.
but yeah, I think at the end we'll probably get a softie somewhere, like when
We
they've
don't
rolled
hope
over a
so.
bit. Yeah.
We don't hope so. Just to add something, I mean, our last game against the All Blacks is the first time the All Blacks have been held trialless for I don't know how many years.
I
It's
saw that. Yeah, actually, good point.
so I think the guys will have to put in another big defensive shift. I think that is going to be the standard that they will try and play to. So yeah, interesting. And then tell me on Bledisloe 1, what are your predictions there?
Let me get this up. Where they playing? They're playing in Oz.
In Australia, mate. I think in Sydney, mate. Gonna be tanning
Um,
some shrimps on the barbie.
yeah, Australian rugby's in disarray at the moment. I don't see them winning that. I'm gonna
Unfortunately.
say I'm going to say New Zealand are definitely going to look for some redemption or retribution, yeah, and make the table look a bit better for them. They can't be where they are currently. So I'm going to say New Zealand pull out all the stops here, and I'm going to say New Zealand by 17.
Look, everything in my being tells me that the All Blacks should smash them by at least 30 points. But just to be different, I'm just gonna call it New Zealand by 6. I think Australia might somehow surprise everyone and bring out a performance. They normally seem to get up for these games. Let's see, but I don't see it happening. Like I say, my my everything points toward a big victory for the All Blacks, but maybe they've also got a little bit of self-doubt. Maybe Australia run them close. Who knows?
Good point. Good point. I think there's some open wounds there to exploit from Australia's point of view. But
Oh, look,
Australian
if they
rugby,
can run them, if they can run them close to the last 20, the All Blacks have been horrendous and woeful in the last 20 in all of the games so far.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, if they can be within a shot in the last 20, Australia, they in with a shot. But yeah, I don't see that happening, but you never know. You just never know.
Let us wait and see, as I say. Um, yeah, so we've had a lot to digest because our last episode was almost a year ago. Um, but it's been good catching up, chatting a bicky ball, as they say.
That big
Uh,
ball.
I don't know. Is there anything else that we need to discuss?
No, I don't think so for now. One shout out I do want to give is for the Sharks and the Lions playing in the Currie Cup final. I think it's this weekend.
Yeah.
It should be a humdinger.
Apparently, the Sharks had a really good win this last weekend.
I did not think they were going to win. They were 12 oaks on the field at a stage. Still somehow managed to pull it out of the hat after extra time.
Walk me through that just quickly. I would just love to know a little bit more.
So it was either 33 all at the end of regulation time or 30 all. I can't remember exactly. But I do know that Johan Goosen missed a 50-meter kick to seal. And then, yeah, the Sharks, the game ended 40 each, but the Sharks scored one try more. Old clever Trevor and on I think the 16th minute of extra to bring the victory to with old Lionel Cronje slotting the crucial two to ensure the game stayed level.
Lionel Cornier still playing.
Still playing, had a big impact coming off the bench.
Holy smokes. He must be north of 35, 36 now.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, looking forward to that as well. Yeah, just looking forward to some international ruggers again.
Yeah.
What the boys will dish up this week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've got a contracts manager on my site who's a massive rugby fan, and he gives me a lot of stick. And he says he's bought his tickets for SA England at Twickenham at the end of the year. So, yeah, it's going to be a cracker. And it's actually end of the year.
For
What are
sure.
we? We're already in September. It's probably a month, 6
Yeah,
weeks
in
away.
November, 2 months. Yeah, probably
Yeah,
2 months, and then we'll see that happening.
yeah. But listen, I think we've checked all the angles.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Till next time.
Wonderful, wonderful. So nice to be back. Good to have a little good catch up chat. And yeah, let's take this one and let's bring that rugby championship back home.
I agree. Lekker.
Laka.
I stopped recording.
Okay, I just quickly want to take a piss, bro. I'm gonna piss my
Okay.
pants. Woo.